My name is Anna. I'm 24 years old. And until recently, I thought I was a good person. Not perfect, but honest. Loyal. The kind of friend who answers texts at midnight and never forgets a birthday. I had one best friend, her name was Leah. We met in high school and never grew apart. She knew everything about me. And I thought I knew everything about her. But the truth is, I didn't even know myself. This isn't just a story. It's how you grow your English, word by word. Subscribe and stay with me. Leah and I used to say we were like sisters. We shared secrets, clothes, bad ideas, dreams. I always admired her. She was the loud one, the confident one, the one who walked into a room and turned heads. I was more quiet. I listened more than I spoke. But with her, I always felt safe. Chosen. Then she met Leo. He was charming, the kind of guy who smiles with his eyes. He was polite, funny, and kind. From the start, he looked at Leah like she was the only person in the world. And I was happy for her. Truly. She deserved someone who saw her like that. But something changed the day she introduced us. It was just a handshake. A few seconds. But something passed between us, like a pause I couldn't explain. I told myself I imagined it. That it was just nerves. But from that moment on, I couldn't stop thinking about him. I didn't want to feel that way. I didn't ask for it. But some feelings arrive quietly, without permission. And before you can control them, they've already made a home inside you. After that day, I tried to forget it. The way his eyes paused on mine. The softness in his voice when he said my name. I told myself it meant nothing. That it was just a first impression. He was Leah's boyfriend. Full stop. But the more time we all spent together, the harder it became to pretend. At first, it was just group outings, movies, dinners, birthdays. I was the third wheel, and I didn't mind. I loved being close to Leah. And Leo? He was easy to be around. He was always kind, always paying attention, not just to Leah, but to me too. He asked about my job, my writing, my favorite music. He listened. Really listened. And slowly, without meaning to, I began to notice the little things. How he leaned in when I spoke. How he smiled differently when I made a joke. How sometimes, I'd catch him looking at me, and looking away too fast. I hated myself for noticing. For feeling that spark in my chest. For checking my phone hoping he'd text me, though he never did. He never crossed a line. And neither did I. But the feelings were there, growing silently between the cracks of my conscience. Leah never noticed. She was happy. Safe. She trusted me completely. That trust was heavy. Every laugh, every hug, every time she said I'm so lucky to have both of you, felt like a knife twisting deeper. I wanted to scream, tell her. Tell him. Run from this before it's too late. But I didn't. I smiled. I played the part. I convinced myself it would pass. I didn't know then that some feelings don't pass. They wait. I started avoiding them. At least, that was the plan. I told Leah I was busy with work. I stopped replying right away. I found excuses to miss dinners, birthdays, even movie nights. She didn't understand. She asked if something was wrong, if I was upset. I said no. I lied. And each lie made me feel smaller. I thought if I stayed away, the feelings would fade. That time in silence would fix what closeness had broken. But it didn't work. Because even in distance, Leo was present. In my mind. In my dreams. In the songs I used to love. Everything reminded me of him, and worse, of how I felt when he was near. I wasn't in love with him. Not yet. But I was too close to the edge. One afternoon, Leah insisted we meet. She missed me. She brought Leo. We sat at a coffee shop. The three of us. Like always. But I couldn't look at him. I focused on my cup. On the table. On the sound of the street outside. But then he said something simple, my name. And I looked up. And for a second, just a second, I saw it again. That pause in his eyes. That hesitation. Like he was trying to stop something too. It was quick. It meant nothing. But I felt it. And I knew he did too. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and asked myself the question I had been avoiding for weeks. What if he feels the same? And that question scared me more than anything. Because it meant this wasn't one-sided. It meant this could become real. And if it did, I would lose everything. It happened when Leah left the room. We were at her apartment. A small get-together. Just the three of us again. She went to the kitchen to get more drinks, laughing, unaware. Leo and I were left alone on the couch, side by side, both pretending to look at our phones. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. I kept telling myself to move. To stand up. To say something neutral, safe. But I couldn't. Then he spoke. "You've been distant," he said. Calm, almost casual. "Is everything okay?" I nodded without looking at him. "Just tired," I whispered. He waited. Then said my name. Softly. "Anna." I looked at him. And that was the moment. No one touched anyone. No one moved closer. But the air between us changed. Slowed. Thickened. And in that silence, everything we had been hiding said itself out loud. In his eyes, I saw confusion. Guilt. But also something else, something I recognized, because it lived in me too. Want. It lasted maybe 3 seconds. But it said too much. And when Leah came back, smiling, carrying drinks, we both flinched like we'd been caught. She didn't notice. She sat between us, laughing about something silly, completely unaware that the ground beneath us had shifted. I left early that night. I said I had a headache. Leo didn't argue. Leah hugged me tight, told me to take care of myself. And I almost cried. Because I knew I had crossed a line. Not with my hands. Not with my words. But in my heart. And there's no going back from that. The next few days were unbearable. I couldn't eat. I couldn't write. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror without hearing her voice in my head, Leah, laughing, trusting, calling me her sister. Every memory with her now felt poisoned by a truth I hadn't spoken, but could no longer deny. I had fallen for him. Or maybe I had just fallen into something I couldn't escape. I thought about telling her. About sitting her down and confessing everything. Not because something had happened, but because something was happening. Something real. Alive. Dangerous. But how do you destroy someone with a truth that only hurts you both? Leo didn't text. He didn't call. He didn't try to see me again. And that silence was the loudest thing I had ever heard. It was filled with everything we didn't say. Everything we couldn't. Then one afternoon, he showed up outside my building. He didn't have to speak. I could see it in his eyes. The same torment. The same question, what do we do with this? We went for a walk. No destination. Just movement. I told him I couldn't do this. That I couldn't betray her. That I felt like I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. He said he understood. That he had tried not to feel it. That it wasn't fair. That it wasn't planned. We didn't touch. We didn't kiss. But in that moment, I think we both knew we were already too close. When we said goodbye, he didn't ask to see me again. I didn't ask either. But neither of us said the word that mattered most, goodbye. Because we weren't ready. And maybe we didn't want to be. It's been 4 months since I last saw him. 3 since I told Leah I needed distance. 2 since she stopped asking why. 1 since she blocked me. I never told her the truth. Not all of it. Just that I was going through something personal. That I couldn't be the friend she needed right now. She was hurt. Confused. She cried. I cried too. But I didn't explain. Maybe because I was protecting her. Or maybe because I didn't have the courage to say what really happened. I fell in love with someone I was never supposed to love. Leo and I never became anything. No messages. No last words. Just space. And silence. and something unfinished. But I think about him, not as a lover, not even as a memory, more like a mirror. He showed me something I didn't want to see, that love doesn't always come when it's convenient. That sometimes it arrives in the wrong hands, at the wrong time, and still feels right. Do I regret it? Yes. And no. Because it changed me. I learned that emotions are not always choices, but actions are. And even when our hearts are messy, we can choose who we want to be in the middle of it. I didn't choose well. I waited too long to draw the line. And in doing so, I lost the one person who had always chosen me. If you asked me what hurts the most, it's not that I never had Leo. It's that I lost Leah without ever telling her why. If this story made you feel something, don't just leave. Subscribe and improve your English through real emotion.